And we are live. How is everybody today? What is everybody up to? Happy Saturday. It's been a little while that Kitty and I have come and played and was live with each and every one of you. I think my free there we go. I thought my screen froze for a minute. So hello everyone. Happy Saturday. It is Saturday on September 21st, 2024. Super excited to be here with each and every one of you. In just a moment, I'm going to do my due diligence and make sure we're streaming where we need to. However, before I do that, I'm just going to introduce myself very quickly because some people don't know who I am. That's weird. Anyhow, I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, the founder of Holistic Fitness NY, Reiki Master, Medical Astrologer, Holistic Integrated Teacher, Master Numerology, Card Creator, and Card Reader. And I'm super excited to be here. And again, as usual, when Miss Kitty and I get together, we come together to do two things. We want to play, and we also want to share insight with you regarding what's going on, planetarily speaking, and also bringing a little numerology into the game as well. Today's topic is Neptune enters Aries. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Kitty to give her a moment to introduce herself as I go and make sure we are streaming where we need to be streaming. So Kitty, introduce yourself.
We are streaming on Intuition of the Soul. So
perfect.
So I'm Kitty Buttigieg Foss, storytelling astrologist, reader of the stars, owner of Optimize Your Energy, which is a course to learn about your astrology and how to use your own map, and co-founder of Intuition of the Soul, which is where we're streaming live right now. And right now, I just turned the heat off. Joanne just turned the air conditioning on. So even though we're only about 7 hours apart, we're in a whole different climate. I'm up in a place called Aurora, Maine, which is about as small as it sounds. It's due west of Bangor, Maine, and due north of, many of you know, Bar Harbor, Ellsworth, Maine. So, and we are properly into fall. Now, earlier this week, Joanne, I was at 85-degree weather swimming in the lakes, which was even more north of here. So weather is wacky. And that kind of is a great topic for about Neptune entering Aries. We're coming to the end of a very long cycle of Neptune in Pisces. But what's really interesting about Neptune entering Aries is it's also completing a bigger cycle of Neptune itself. Aries is the last sign of the zodiac. Aries is the beginning, the ultimate cardinal spark. So we are leaving a long time energy, and we are headed into another completion, unbelievably, of what's happening, where we're going, and all about this Neptune entering Aries. Now, Neptune does not enter Aries until March 30th of 2025. And we are coming to the end. And this is kind of important, this little time that we're in. There's also some interesting numbers coming up on this, which I hope Joanne will talk about as we take a look at this brand new cycle and the end of this Pisces cycle. And we're at the 29th degree. So we're resetting our karma with spirit. This is a really big ancestral clearing in this particular period of time since this equinox. And the eclipse that we had has been a revisit of some themes in everyone's lives. And if you can think of where you were in about March of 2016 to about February of 2017, there's same kinds of energy coming back that is setting up this eclipse energy. And this is going to take us right into this energy that is a brand new cycle with spirit that we're getting ready for. So,
yes. Yes, and as Kitty is chatting about all this, I'm jotting down some numbers in regards to the energy that we are in right about now. I mean, to start off with, when we talk about just the year itself of 2024, which by now you all know, it carries an 8 energy based on when you add those numbers together. This year is a karmic reset year. This is a karmic cycle. And when I use the word karmic energy, karmic reset, many people right away go to the mindset of, well, oh, this is about what goes around comes around energy. And it really isn't. This is really more about your own karmic energy of the things that you are working on, whether it's subconsciously, unconsciously, or even consciously, of things that you have maybe have excuse me have had patterns with, and finally surfacing to give you an opportunity to decide whether or not you have done the work to whatever that karmic energy is, and if you are ready to let that energy go, to reset it, to do something different. I'm going to give an example here. I speak on this a lot in regards to weight, body weight. A big one for most of us. It's a huge topic in the health and wellness industry in regards to being a certain weight, being healthy, making sure that weight is a big contributor of muscle versus fat, and understanding that when we talk about our weight, from my point of view, anything from my research and a lot of what I speak on is you have a contract with your weight. And it's not about, well, let's go on a fair diet, or let's track our calories, or even worse, let's go on a calorie deficit where we're not eating enough calories to begin with, thinking that that's going to benefit us in the long run, and it really doesn't. It really is about understanding where that weight, when did that weight come in, the agreement and contract to that weight, the story, which is what the agreement is. And then at that moment, once you recognize your story to that weight and you've done the deep dive, you can then decide whether or not you have done the work, learned the lessons behind it, and then decide to let that energy go and then replace it with something different. Which means if you decide to do that, you've moved into a space of forgiving it, forgiving the actual energy of that story. And for most people, when most people carry physical weight, which is the psychological wall, it's a representation to something that you needed protection from, whether it's a thing, a situation, or an actual person. So it is a deep dive. So that's the karmic energy that this 8 energy year is really referring to in regards to deep issues. Maybe not weight particularly, it could be something else. But that's the karmic energy. That's the contracts that you want to look at in order to utilize and benefit from this 8 energy year. And being, as Kitty said, when we think about Neptune in Pisces, Pisces being the last zodiac sign, and the energy Pisces holds is the energy of all 12 zodiac signs. So looking at everything in your chart and how that plays into your storyline, the subconscious process of it, and the higher consciousness of the wisdom behind whatever that contract is. So again, going back to that 8 energy, it's bringing things back into balance in regards to whatever is going on in your journey. And we'll face the reality and the facts of things that we all have something going on in our lives that's happening right now for every one of us. And some of us have bigger things, and some of us have maybe the word I'm hearing to use is smaller things, not as heavy as what I just heard, where the lesson's not as heavy because you've done this work already. And I think a big part of this is really about, I'm hearing the age that you are based on the experiences that you've had. So the older we are, the lighter the experience may actually be, because we've done this work already. If you're younger, the energy might be a little heavier because you're just sort of getting started. Indirectly, I'm hearing that indirectly because maybe you are a old soul in this lifetime, which means you've done this before. So you're familiar with this whole karmic energy process. And then when we talk about the 29 degrees, now let me make sure I got this right from Kitty. The 29 degrees, is that in regards to Neptune in Pisces, 29 degrees? Okay, wanted to make sure, because I had a feeling I wrote down the wrong sign. I wrote down Aries. So when we talk about that 29 degree, it is a process of an ending of something, and 29 in numerology, when you add those numbers up, is 11. So again, we have an opportunity here to be the master healer. What is it that you're working on in regards to healing something? And I know that Kitty and I spoke about this the last time we got together. The word healing, what does that actually mean for you? It may be something very different for me, for Kitty, and for you. So to really sit down and sit into what that word means to you first, to be able to define what it is you are actually healing, do this mastering, because that's what this Neptune in Pisces is about. It's the mastering of the higher wisdom, the higher consciousness, and tapping into your abilities as a spiritual being and an intuitive being. This is where you really get to embrace your intuitive energy. That you're not necessarily being led by what I refer to like the 3D energy, or I use the word ego. What do you use, Kitty?
Human manager.
Thank you. The human manager is not the one guiding you on this journey right now. It really is your higher wisdom that's guiding you, because then you're tapping into your intuition. And that's your higher wisdom. Your intuition is your higher wisdom. So when you can move from your higher wisdom, tapping into your intuition, that's where you're going to be able to master whatever it is. And as Kitty mentioned, this energy that we are in right now, with Neptune being in Pisces in a retrograde, and I believe Neptune's going to be going direct soon, correct?
Uh, First Pluto, then Neptune.
Yes. Well, yes.
So
No.
it's in October.
Yes.
I'm looking at
So
the date.
yeah, actually does that. So when we talk about the energy of March 2016 through February of 2017, that cycle is a reflection that you can go back to and think about what you were experiencing then, what that story is, and that's a reflection of what may be going on for you right now. And I would recommend, because I do this all the time, I would recommend writing down as bullets. So this way here, you may get a thought to come in and write it down as a bullet, and then come back and see how many bullets you have from 2016 through 2017, and see how many of those bullets are actually showing up right now.
And that period of time is the last real Pisces Virgo axis. That's why we're from the eclipse season. That's why we're encountering that, and it's really interesting because, like Pluto, Neptune takes a long time to go through all 12 houses of the zodiac. So the last time we're talking about, it will enter in 2025 and be there till 2039. And the last time it was during the Civil War, 1861 through 1875. And it was also great developments in chemistry, in medicines, in all kinds of tools of war. Now, Mars is the ruler of Aries, and Mars is always considered that spark, that ultimate cardinal energy, quick to put its focus forward. And so that's one of the reasons that physically things get started. And there's also understanding from that time of what addictions were, that they really started to study morphine addictions, alcohol addictions, and the long-term effects. That was also the first war that was actually documented in pictures and in stories. And so there were great scientific things started at the same time. So kind of the thought that's coming for this Neptune entering Aries. Now, the thing about Neptune is, one of the things that cracks me up with many astrologers is the first thing they say is delusions. There are, and again, it's in the presentation. This is something, especially with Jupiter and Gemini, we're trying to learn how we respond, how we experience things with intention is the reality we're creating. So the first thing you go to with Neptune is illusions, delusions, suffering, that's the energy you're talking about with Neptune. If you go to the spirituality, the understanding, that may be some of the biggest breakthroughs that come through with our virtual technology, including possibility of virtual wars. Joanne and I have talked about this. The likelihood of physical, much more than attacks on different realms, is more apparent now. And so when we talk about Neptune, we are talking about the energy that uncovers. And in Aries, we're talking about the ultimate energy to start to uncover, to start to move through, and to really look at what our narratives are and how we're going to approach this. Very interestingly enough, we have Mars in at this point, just before we go into this and a little bit in it, we'll have Mars retrograding in and still being in the sign of Cancer, where Mars is very protective itself. So the energy of this entrance with Neptune is very much protection, very much nurturing, very much trying to figure out how, again, with this Jupiter in Gemini energy, am I aligning my energy? How am I going to respond? We're going from a lot of feminine energy, of earth and water planets in those signs, to this air energy. And the way I look at it is that's why it's the rise of the feminine, because the male is very busy at this point, and the female energy is in much bigger supporting roles. So it's going to be an interesting time as to what the thoughts are for what this is going to be. But it's a new beginning, and it's a new beginning with spirit, and it's a pioneering energy. That's what this Neptune in Aries is, a pioneering energy with spiritualism, what we're looking at religious, and taking a look at what are illusions and what are the realities we're creating. So interesting time. So Neptune leaves retrograde on the 7th of December, and Mars enters retrograde about 2 hours before, at the end of the 6th of December. So that's kind of interesting. So as it's setting up Neptune for its final Pisces 29-degree karmic reset, the energy of the next part for Neptune retrograding, to take a look at how is it going to nurture, how is it going to be protective of certain things. So
when Mars begins its retrograde, Mars will be in Cancer still, or will have moved into Leo?
it will move into Leo barely, and then it will retrograde back into Cancer.
Yes. Yeah. So before we actually move into that Neptune energy in Aries, again, coming back into the Neptune energy in Pisces, keep in mind for yourself that when we do speak on Neptune's energy, Neptune, because it's in Pisces, is giving every one of us the ability to tap into our spiritual gifts. Because again, that higher consciousness, and recognizing that in theory, we're all spiritual beings. So in the first alignment, that's the way I'm going to see it. I don't know why they're telling me to say it this way, but in the first alignment, that we are spiritual first, and then we're human. However, I think we have it a little backwards. Most people have it backwards, where most people think they're human first and they're spiritual second. And I think the reason why there's that confusion is because most people are led by their human manager, and as opposed to allowing themselves to be in their intuition and being led by intuitiveness versus their ego, their human manager. So we can flip that around and take advantage of Neptune being in Pisces, especially right now because it is in retrograde, helping us to really become the master of our spiritual gifts. We all have at least one spiritual gift. Most of us have many more than one, but one is more heightened than others. And if we can get into that place to using and activating that spiritual gift, we will be able to be led by our intuition more so, and the different things that we constantly sit in question on, we won't have to be in question on anymore, because we would literally have the answers literally right at the tip of our fingers, because we would be able to access our intuition and access spirit. Now, I know there's so many people who are literally watching us right now, who are with us right now, and there's so many more that have this curiosity with spirit communication, thinking they don't know how to communicate with spirit. I constantly get emails from a variety of people asking, well, how do I connect with spirit? I really want to speak with a loved one that's recently crossed over. This is what that energy is about right now. Neptune and Pisces is helping us move into that space to communicate with spirit, to have that conversation, literally as though like Kitty and I are literally right here together talking with all of you. It's the same concept with Neptune being in Pisces. So my suggestion for all of you is to really start practicing daily on just having a general conversation with that person who has crossed over. Have a general conversation with them like you're having a conversation with a best friend or your sibling or your parent, and just then be open to whatever guidance that shows up. And that's how you're going to practice more and more on that spirit connection, spirit communication you have, because we're in the window of it right now. We're literally with this retrograde and with Neptune in its
Well,
last.
and the North Node is in Aries right now. So there is a push forward for your soul to start this new thing, to understand, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. And then, of course, when we talk about our nodes, here's a fun one for everybody. And I'm sure Kitty and I will come back at some point and talk more about this too, because each each planetary energy has so much information to offer that we can't give it all in one sitting. However, as of January 11, 2025, our nodes are going to change. And we're going to be in that Pisces Virgo energy, which again is going to give us that access to tapping into who we are based on our spiritual beings after experiencing Neptune in Pisces. So this is opportunity. And I think, let me just see if I can see the timeline that way. March 30th, 2025. Yes. So we'll still have Neptune in Pisces at that point in time when the nodes change over. So you'll have a very short window. I always love when we have short windows of planetary energies to work with, because that means a lot can come from that short window. So from January 11, 2025 until March 30th of 2025, we will have the North and South Node in Pisces and Virgo. Neptune will still be sitting in Pisces energy, so you'll have that access for that short period of time to really reap the benefits of spirit communication and allowing yourself to open up that energy and expand into who you are as a spiritual being and be the more wiser than you are now. So it's definitely a fun time that we are moving into.
Well, one of the real interesting things that's going to happen is from the end of May of 2025 until April of 2028, we are going to have both Saturn in Aries and this Neptune in Aries. And so that's a lot about the starting new structures with spirit, aligning. That's a really important difference, perhaps, than some of the other times of this Aries energy. There's
Get those
something
dates again?
the dates are May 26th of 2025 until April 13th of 2028. We will have them both in this energy. And it, for some, it's going to be a lot about not their true who they are, really needing to uncover it even more in order to start. And you're going to find cameras and cosmetics and stuff. Well, there'll be all kinds of new advances because new structures are also starting. And so it's a history making kind of energy of beginnings in that March. And so where are you going to put your energy for this? It's another revolutionary kind of energy that steps forward, where you're going to see virtual kinds of things happen. When you look at these revolutionary energy times, big inventions come, and with that is always new challenges that step forward. So,
Yes. Yeah, and during excuse me, and during the time frame of 2025, as I mentioned earlier about 2024 being an 8 energy year, 2025 obviously is a 9 energy year. So this will also be an opportunity for the entire world collectively to reflect on the last 9 years of our lives, what's been going on in the last 9 years of our lives that may or may not be aligned to the statement of who am I spiritually speaking, not who are you on a 3D level. And I think it's interesting because as Spirit sits back and says with Spirit's jokes, many of us don't even know who we are based on the who am I on the 3D level. Nevertheless, knowing who we are on a spiritual level. So there's that confusion because so many of us for so long have worn masks to be something that somebody else said that we were. Because most of us have lived through the eyes of what someone else thought we should be doing, as opposed to actually stepping into our transparency and being authentic to be who we are meant to be. If that makes sense for you to like unravel that energy of it's now time, well, it's been time to pull the mask off and allow yourself to really truly be you and not be someone else because someone thought this would be a better role for you. Like I know many people that have been influenced by specific careers based on, well, this particular career you're going to make more money, and this is a safer career to be in than to be in this career. And we've all learned from 2020, I don't think there's any career that is really safe to be in, because again, as we go through our evolutionary process, things are fading away and new things are coming in. Although I think it's safe to say that the health industry is probably a pretty stable industry to move into, theoretically speaking. And I even see that changing. I was just saying to someone the other day that if many of us become more and more attuned and aware and awakened to healing ourselves, that maybe the medical industry may start to change a little bit, because maybe, and I use the word maybe, we won't need as much of the medicine that so many people have been relying on for the last maybe 50 to 100 years, because we're learning to heal thyself as opposed to relying on medicines that really are not aligned with our bodies. So we may even start to see that change. That would be really nice.
Well, what's going to also be very interesting about that particular combination is that, remember, Aries energy is our first house energy. It's what we attract. It's our persona. It's our image. It's all of those things. And we're going to have a big concentration on that start, what is coming to us, the ultimate open house kind of energy coming through to us. And again, how you with this Jupiter in Gemini, the personal responsibility, the personal way I experience it and think about it is really about our intentional living. Just what you're talking about is, how do I want my life to be? And
for that matter, as you speak on Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter itself is going to be going retrograde very shortly, right in that window in what is that, October 9th?
October 9th, 10th, and 11th, yes.
Yeah, so that itself, because again, when we think about Jupiter's energy and in Gemini, the experience that we're having, how are we expanding in this very evolution that we are going through? I was going to say something before I said that. The thought came into my mind. Oh, there you go. There's the thought. Came back in. So thankful. Love when we have those senior moments. Maybe they're not senior moments, just too much going on in the brain.
Well, there's a lot of different energy around right now, and it's peeling. Lots of things are coming up for people, not necessarily to revisit or put, but they're to be released and take a look at. And again, can I get a perspective back here rather than getting sparked by all this Aries energy that's coming forth too?
Yes. So we speak on the Aries energy, as Kitty mentioned before, about Aries theoretically, it represents your first house energy. Also to look at your natal chart to see where you have Aries. What house is Aries in? Aries represents the first house. Doesn't mean that you have Aries in your first house on your chart. So you may want to take a look at your where Aries is placed on your chart, because again, that's where you're going to get the amplifications coming through. That's where things are going to be highlighted for you, and that's where you're going to be able to give and take, get the storyline to what most of this energy is going to be highlighting for you. So, Kitty, for you, where do you have Aries on your chart? And please don't tell me in your eighth house, because you have a packed eighth house energy.
No, Aries is a third house for me. It's where that Jupiter and Gemini energy is right now. It's third house. My IC is at 29 degrees of Aries. So
Oh,
your IC is your least aware. It's your undercurrent energy that you're least aware of. This need to start, this need to spark, and that's kind of true, because when I get mad, I'm always surprised at how it comes out. I'm like the least aware of that. So
yes. And because it's on the lower layer of your chart, it's all the hidden stuff too, the things that we sort of keep within. We don't necessarily bring it out on an intentional point. So, and for me, I have Aries in my 10th house, sitting with Mars and Chiron. So it should be interesting with these energies moving into, with both Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries in May of 2025, how that's going to play a role for what I need to take action on, where I want to be the warrior, where I want to be the leader, how I am leading. Am I going to be leading differently than I am leading now? Is there going to be this big evolution that goes on for me at that point in time? What will I be talking about then?
right. Well, and we still will have Chiron in Aries at that point.
Yes.
Too. And Chiron in Aries is all about removing masks, all about that piece of it. So we've got the structure starting to be something completely brand new and putting together, sparking. We have uncovering energy, that is that Neptune spiritual energy, understanding the that there are things hidden. And then we're going to have Aries. Not only are things hidden, but you need to take the masks off. It's a very deep dive.
Yes, yes.
It's
Yes,
a
Jamie
teaching.
says that she has Aries in her 7th and 8th house. So let's talk about that a little bit for Jamie. What's that? What is that? What does that mean for Jamie?
So if you have Aries in your 7th and 8th house, so Mars used to be the traditional ruler of the 8th house before Pluto was discovered. So there is always that transformative part about Aries. So that's a great alignment of what you need to transform. And it has to do with aligning it in the house of relationship, aligning it in its opposite energy, which is the 7th house for Aries. It's about relationships, how you move forward, that kind of energy in balance. And so there's something transformative when you have that level of 7th to 8th that is asking you to transform in all relationships, in all encounters, to start anew. To me, it indicates that you're a person that is what's the word I want? You are a catalyst wherever you go. In
Yes,
your
yes.
family, in your home, in the grocery store, you're always a catalyst in relationship. And it's a catalyst for some kind of balance in there too. Starting to always help people find that balance.
Yes. And Jamie, to add on to that, with your Aries in 7th and 8th house, the 8th as the transformation, The 7 as your relationship. The relationship and transformation is going to play a big role in your physical body, how your body will be transforming, some changes that may be coming through on your body. Also, paying attention during that period of time of the messages that come through. I believe that our body is our biggest messenger, and the symptoms that show up in our bodies. For you ladies over 40 in the lane of perimenopause or menopause, those are symptoms that your body is speaking to you about. I always believe there's a flip side to that coin, and if you look at the metaphysical meanings behind all the different symptoms that appear to be menopause, you'll find that there's some beautiful spiritual evolutions going on in regards to that lane that you may be in regarding menopause. So for you, Jamie, pay attention to those symptoms that you may be experiencing at that time, and pen to paper, write it down. Go on a discovery journey to discover those lessons and what those symptoms are for you, and you'll be quite surprised that during that time, what you're going to learn about yourself. Assuming you approach the symptoms based on the metaphysical aspects of things and not so much the medical aspects of things. So I'm loving that for Jamie in that 7th, 8th transformation. Big transformations for her at that point in time. So what else do you have for us, Kitty, regarding our energies?
Well, it's, we're in this we're in this equinox, this coming off these eclipses. This is what's gone back to that 2016, 2017, and the messages keep coming about. A lot of things are reappearing, revisiting. It's a time. Of course, that's what retrograde season is, and it's about understanding that it's clearing it out. Eclipses are often quick and fast restorations and stopping of things that appear for people. Getting ready, there's a piece of this that's about rest, because with all of this energy coming to Aries, that's rapid change, that's rapid things being sparked. And, Neptune's orbit is 165 years long. We're coming to an end in that 9-year of 165-year period. So, and it's important that we're rested and that we have a clearer idea of what's going on. And again, technologies are even going to move faster at this point, so
yes.
Go ahead.
So when we come back to that 2016, because as Kitty mentioned the number 9, and I'm looking at the 2016 and adding that number up, 2016 carried a 9 vibration. So it's definitely going to, if you reflect back to 2016, that may give you some insight to what's coming in 2025, which is our 9-year energy. So a lot of that, paying attention to it. Now, Spirit is guiding me to give you insight on, because there's somebody out there who's probably thinking this and hasn't asked it yet. If we know what was taking place in 2016 as a reflection, does it mean that we can bypass it in 2025? The answer to that is no. It's not about bypassing anything. It's about recognizing the reflection, recognizing what you experienced then, recognizing what you've learned through, recognize if there's a pattern. Now, when we think about the word pattern, two things that come up. The first thing is that there's a pattern, which means there's a cycle. Now, I learned this through one of my mentors many years back, that when we have a pattern of something, it means there's a lesson, and there's a layer to the lesson, which is what the pattern is, where we move through different patterns. And as we move through it, we go into another layer of that pattern, learning a different lesson through that very pattern. So it's not so much about like, oh my God, this pattern's here again and I have more work to do. Like, what did I do when I did it the first time around? Yes, the pattern is there. The pattern is there to remind you that you've done the work and recognize this is about recognition, this is about praise, this is about what you've achieved, what you've accomplished in that time frame, and then recognizing that there's another layer. There's another layer to that pattern, and seeing it in that way as opposed to just staying focused on what you experience in the first cycle of that pattern. And then you have this opportunity again as we move into 2025, that 9 year, the last 9 years of your life, what was going on, and see, like for me, I've had a lot of patterns in reference to starting up things and ending things, starting up things and ending things. Like right now, based on my business, where I've definitely done this process of expanding my business, then downsizing my business, then expanding my business, then downsizing my business. And now where I am right now, in my mind, I was like, okay, so what part would my business be at this point? Would it be a downsize because I closed my storefront after 22 years? Or is there an expansion there? And Spirit keeps saying it's an expansion because I'm doing business in a different way. So it's not like a downsize where I'm closing it out. It's an expanding where I'm actually reaching out to a much larger community of people working worldwide now. And energetically, I'm putting out there the insight, the intention. I think Kitty will like this. The intention to do a little bit more of traveling for business, not necessarily traveling for purpose, because for me, it's like, okay, my means of going away on vacation personally is like 3 days tops, and I'm ready to come back home. Yet if and Kitty laughs. Yet if I had
like, let's go on vacation. Yeah.
Exactly. Yet if I had the intention of I'm going to go travel for a speaking event, and that speaking event is 3 days, that is something that I'm doing because I'm serving as opposed to sitting around in my mind. So, and that's my intention I'm putting out as part of my expansion as we move into 2025 in regards to how the last 9 years of my life looked, what I started, what I ended, what I started, what I ended, wanting to start up this new pace of things of going where, yes, I do pack a suitcase. And yes, I do get to maybe visit Florida, Arizona, Texas, just to name a few places. There's many more. So, yes.
Well, this is going to be an interesting thing because arguably the 0 degree of Aries is a very important degree, which will be most of 2025 through 2026. And for a very brief period of time, Saturn will also be at 0 degrees with Aries. And because it starts something brand new, and this is going to be a transit of spirit and a transit of our structures. So I also really feel like we'll be able to see things we never thought we'd see before. That not only will it be about the technology, but it's also about our own evolution. And these two major planets meet at the very first degree of Aries will be incredible. And they, these planets only are conjunct every 36 years or so, but not at 0 degrees. That's been centuries. And so, it's really going to be very interesting. Brand new structures with brand new ways of seeing spirit and working with it. And that doesn't mean that there won't be people fighting it. We're going to see, I just heard the word downgrading of traditional religions, even more so because people are not accepting those limitations as, especially the patriarchal piece of the limitations. That's why there's a rise of the feminine in there.
Yes. Yes. So, Katie, you have cards with you tonight?
I do have cards with me. I have your deck and my Lemurian deck. So I'll pull my Lemurian deck out.
Yes. So we're going to pull some cards and see what we need to know regarding this energy that we have coming through with Neptune getting ready to move out of Pisces at 29 degrees. Remember, you are mastering something in regards to that connection between you as a spirit and you as a human. And they're equally important. It's not like, being a spirit is the most important part of it. They're equally important. Learning how to navigate through your human role and also learning how to navigate through your spiritual as a spiritual being so you can benefit from both energies because you're still here on earth, people. You're not quite ready to go back home, so there's still some navigating to do. And hey, if you have access and knowing and understanding your planets and understanding where you are based on your numerology aspects, I find it's a win-win. Doesn't mean you're not going to experience challenges or chaos or obstacles. It just means you have a tool to work with to help you navigate through whatever it is you're going through. Now,
Right.
it's that whole concept of, I used to believe once upon a time, um, with mentors, that them being at a higher level of spirituality than me, knowing more than me, I'm going to put it that way, point blank, that they've done their work and they don't have any intense lessons going on, until one of my mentors says, no, as long as we're on this earth, we all go through something. And I'm like, oh, so you experience these challenges too? And she goes, yes, just like you will continue to experience challenges. Where I was always under the impression that, oh, once we get through that pattern, oh, I bypassed that pattern and life is going to be all wonderful and joy and rainbows. And she informed me, like, yes, you'll have wonderful, like the butterflies, the rainbows, and all that wonderfulness. And then you'll have some lessons again. I'm like, oh. So,
That word said it all. So it's very interesting because I kind of said, tell me about this Mars and Aries, and it was a series. So the first one that came out is Fire. You see that? And it's a two-headed dragon. And that is Aries. Aries is fire. It's the spark. It's about the fire of the sublime. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful. Yes. Yes.
And it's 15, a favorite number of mine, which is 6, the love vibration. And coming with it was loving compassion, which is 16, and communication, co-creation. These are all part of it. Having loving compassion for our way of being allows this co-creation communication that's happening. There's something very galactic that's going to be a part of this, and I don't even really understand what that is yet. So,
Kitty, the two numbers you received were 15 and 16?
15, 16, and then 21.
Okay. In a moment, I'm going to break those down. But before I do that, I do need to say that one of Kitty's cards is totally in alignment with the card that I pulled that flew out. 15. We're back at that 6 energy, and 6 again coming back into the fact that your body, because that 6 energy represents your physical body, paying attention to your physical body and becoming aware of what the messages are through your physical body, because your physical body is your biggest messenger. The message here, though, is family. So paying attention to family, because family, how do I say this nicely? How do I say this easily? When it comes to family, family is your biggest lesson. Family is your biggest teacher. So if there's anything going on between you and a family member, this is a perfect time to this energy that we're in with all the retrogrades, not just the Neptune and Saturn retrogrades, but all the retrogrades. This is a perfect time to really be in that space and reviewing and reflecting and recognizing that some of the messages that are showing up in your body could be just about dealing with your family, getting to that place where you can, because of the heart center, moving into a more heart-centered space when it comes to family, having more compassion and understanding to where they are, because we don't understand where they are. We don't know where they are, and it's not our job to know. It's not our job to understand. And if we allow ourselves to let go of that need to understanding where they are and just have compassion, maybe somewhere along the line, that would rub onto them as well, and that would just make family matters a little easier to have more compassion and ease with one another. So I'm loving that. And let me see pull another card to see what we need to know.
What's kind of interesting about that is this particular card is about duality, and that's what we're going to experience with this ultimate Aries energy that we're starting at, this intensive transformation of being alive and conscious of your infinite energy. It is the yin and yang that we're going to be dealing with at that point, our
Yes.
real balancedness of our humanness. What is it you want to create? Jupiter's asking us to, with experience and intention, how is it you're going to go forward with this?
Yes. And if you haven't heard this enough times, in tonight's live or in any live before, let me say it again because Spirit wants me to. Master Healer. Master Healer. Master Teacher, Master Healer. 3-8 is that 11 energy. This is the very energy, again, to remind us. We constantly need this reminder, I guess, to remind ourselves that we are the master teacher. We are always teachers and we are always students. We're playing both roles just as we are when we play the spirit role and the human role. You are here to teach people how to respond to you. You are here to learn from people how to respond to you. So that's your job. The chakra here is the third eye. So this is about your vision that you hold, the again, the very contracts, the very agreements that you do have with the different people around you. What are those contracts about? You know, get into the understanding that wherever you are right now on your journey, whatever's going on in your life right now in this very moment, first of all, it's not permanent. It's going to change. There will be something about that that will change. And with that, whatever that is, there's a lesson there. So once you can understand the lesson and you can move away from the whole idea of trying to fix it, that's where you can create a new vision for the lesson. So I'm loving that energy that we do have. So of course we have that 11 energy. We had our 15 twice. So we have 6 twice. We have 7 and then we have 3. Oh my God, I got to add numbers here. Goodness.
Well, the 7 and 3 is 10.
Yeah, I got that part already. I got that. Oh, I'm loving the, before I even break it down, we have 10, 11, 12 from our numbers because 38 is 11. We have the 6, which is our 12, and the 7, 3, as Kitty said, is our 10. So we have things in perfect order. I love when numbers show up this way. It's reminding us that everything is in perfect order. There's absolutely nothing you need to do. If you allow yourself to trust your intuition, be guided as spirit. What do I need to be today? You know, maybe it's about being patient today. It's about being compassionate today. It's about being grateful for where you are right now. So, of course, as we add those numbers up, what are we going to get? A big whopping 33. So, in numerology, 33 is known as the master sacrificer, the master creator. What are you willing to sacrifice so you can be the master healer? What are you willing to sacrifice so you can be the master healer? Are you willing to sacrifice your pride? Are you willing to sacrifice the process of having to be right? Do you need to be right today? Can you just say, you know what, for today I'm going to be in my joy. I don't have to be right. I don't have to debate.
I love that expression. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yeah. You know, and you get to choose. So if you're choosing to want to be right or you're choosing to sit in whatever it is that's going on for you and you're choosing that, then accept it. Allow yourself to be in that. But if you're choosing to not want to be in that and you want to be in your joy, you get to visualize that. So that's the very energy. Kitty, any final words to this Neptune entering Aries for us?
No, that this particular Libra season, since Libra is this sun in Libra season, is particularly going to be important to find your balance, find what's moving ahead, find the justice. Do your words align with not only how you live, but who you choose to surround you with, who you choose as your leaders? That's an important thing, obviously, in the States coming up. Is that person aligned with what you wish to see and be? That's important. It's not about we think alike. It's about do they live the way you hope that they do? And, that's important because you in this Libra are looking and getting a really good handle on that energy that moves us forward in justice and in balance and relationship is about this co-creation we're going into with Neptune, Saturn, and Chiron. A lot of Aries coming. So
Yes. And reminding yourself that, again, or this transition of Neptune moving into Aries takes place in 2025 in March. So we still have a lot of time sitting in Neptune Pisces right now at that 29 degrees, helping us to really work on being the master healer of your very journey that you're in. In addition to where Kitty and I will definitely come back and play and talk about this energy as we get closer, where we will have the transition with Pluto going direct. And we'll talk more about that when that happens, and those 3 days in October where we'll have our outer planets all in retrograde, with Jupiter starting its retrograde. So that should be a lot of fun. And just stay tuned to find out what's happening and how to play in this energy, and just stay focused on your intuition, stay focused on your lessons, stay focused on the different relationships you have with people and what you are learning from them about yourself. So if there's something about someone that just gets under your skin, pay close attention to them, because they are your teacher. They are teaching you something. So be happy about that person, because they're teaching you something about you.
And that does not mean you have to hang out with them and make it okay. There's a difference. You pay attention to how it activates you. You don't have to make it okay. It's showing you something in yourself, bringing a value front to you. So,
Exactly. And remember, you always have a choice. Yep. If you're not comfortable where you are, take your 2 little feet and move. You are not a tree. You are not a tree. You can take your 2 little feet and move if you are not comfortable where you are. So if you're choosing to stay where you are, you're making that decision to stay where you are. So remind yourself, say to yourself, I'm not a tree. I'm not a tree. I can move from this spot and do so. So all that being said, thank you so much, everyone who popped in tonight. I always appreciate you when you come and pop in, because it's a Saturday night. It's 8 o'clock at night. You could be watching your favorite movie, maybe cleaning your house if you so dare to, or whatever else you choose to do, but you chose to be here with Kitty and I. We both thank you for that. So until we come together and play again, till next time.
Namaste.
Namaste. As I shut things down, Kitty will sing a song for us.
Yeah, because by the way, StreamYard takes forever to go off. So yeah, kind of sit here and go like this.
I think it's more me because it takes me time to shut everything down.
It's also StreamYard.